Okay, so here we are out of the Blue Bee number 83.15. And I want to point something out. So this book is one of four spiritualist books that we reference. The four being Life in the World Unseen by Monsignor Hugh Benson, Spirit Intercourse by J. Hewat McKenzie, Wanderer in the Spirit Lands by Francesco, and this book Intramuros by Rebecca Springer. And the title of this chapter is Life in the Van Allen Belt. So I'm kind of echoing the title of the other book, Life in the World Unseen. And I'm suggesting, based on J. Hewat McKenzie's map, that the spirit spheres and the world unseen, that the spirit spheres that J. Hewat McKenzie describes, the world unseen that Monsignor Benson describes, the spirit lands that Francesco describes, and the dream of heaven that Rebecca Springer describes, are all the same place, and they are, because of J. Hewat McKenzie's map, which is accurate in miles, they are what we in the modern day call the Van Allen belts. Um, J. Hewat McKenzie describes a first heaven and a second heaven. So in J. Hewat McKenzie's map from 1916, there are seven spheres in the spirit lands, and they are divided into the first heaven and the second heaven. The first heaven being the first and second spheres, and the second heaven being 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And this is precisely how Van Allen describes the Van Allen belts, which were not discovered till the 1950s. And so there's an inner Van Allen belt and an outer belt. There's an inner belt and an outer belt, just in the same way that J. Hewat McKenzie describes a first heaven and a second heaven. And based on that map, this place where she is appears to be either in the second or third sphere. It's not exactly, I mean, it's a matter of opinion, but her world is a religiously specific world. She is a Protestant Christian, and she describes a Protestant Christian afterlife. But in the J. Hewat McKenzie map, there is an afterlife for every denomination, from which you graduate into a larger life where everyone is one big family. And so her descriptions fit in J. Hewat McKenzie's map quite clearly. And J. Hewat McKenzie's map mirrors the map of the Van Allen belts, which were not discovered until 40 years after J. Hewat McKenzie's writings. And so I'm concluding that J. Hewat McKenzie and Van Allen were describing the same thing, and therefore this near-death experience phenomena that we hear about, where a person sees a tunnel of light and they travel up this tunnel of light to a land of light, they are ending up in one of these places, which is within the Van Allen belts somewhere, and which is also where we are all headed. Okay, thanks. See ya.